Howdy in the duty. Hi and welcome. I'm Pawa, and in this video, I'm gonna carry on. This is day two of me making my guide series, where I, try to explain everything about rating and rifle lifting. So in this particular video, I'll be talking about positioning, um, and what that means. I'll be talking about the nuances of what it means to be attacking from behind, what it does, as well as like maximum melee range. And if the video is not too long, I'll go over the caps, glancing blows, etc., crit cap, things like that. Um, so, yep, here we go. All right, here we go. So I've drawn up a diagram, uh, just sketched it out. It looks kind of sketchy, so yeah, it's a sketch. So over here, the big white circle, we have a boss. The purple arrow is showing which direction the boss is facing in. The tank would be the red circle, and he's facing the boss. So they're just giving each other a kiss there in melee range. Um, this line probably wasn't necessary. This is just supposed to be like a cross section, so you know that this other line is on a perfect right angle sort of thing. Um, that line is the lateral sideways line of the boss at which front and rear is separated. So this whole section here is the front of the boss. This whole section here is the back of the boss. Uh, the reason why I'm showing this is I'm trying to find the direct dead center of the boss. So I'm gonna use this to explain a couple of nuances here. Um, so as long as if you imagine yourself as this circle and this is your lateral, let's say you are this pro DPS over here standing at maximum melee range, you can face away from the boss, and technically you'll still be attacking the boss. Sort of like this cross-side hunter over here. That's like, the boss is over here, he's facing down here, but it doesn't matter because his perfect lateral has the boss in it, even if it's by 1 degree on this line. So he's technically still attacking the boss and still attacking the back of the boss. So yeah, just a few little crazy nuances. All right, I have to go back and do another little recording. So let's say you're used to playing on maximum melee range. You've practiced a bit. You've done a few bosses with it. You've practiced on target dummy, and now there's another trick you gotta get used to. When you're DPSing as a melee and the boss has an ability you have to run away from, you should never be looking at your character damaging the boss. You should be looking at the safe place you have to run to. And the reason why your camera is turned to that safe place is because when you are DPSing, you're holding left click. When the damaging ability comes out that you have to run away from the boss uh, from, you are already holding left click, and all you have to do is hold right click, and your character starts running in that direction. Um, it's just a way to stay safer, a lot easier. Um, when you're looking at the boss and you need to run away, you have to turn your camera around, and then you have to, left and right click. Or you can actually do another thing, which requires no camera manipulation. If you are like this pro DPS here on, looking at the boss at the tangent, then all you have to do, this will be from here somewhere, you're DPSing, and you just strafe. So you don't even have to hold your mouse down. Save yourself a bit of RSI, flat index finger or whatever. You do your DPS, and then I have my strafe bound to A. I just strafe away. That's just to save you a bit of, RSI and shit. Bloody hell, I forgot to mention something about being a pro DPS again. So another one of those little nuances when you are, maximum melee range standing. There's another benefit which I forgot to mention. Not only are you closer to your safe distance if there's a melee AoE possibility that you have to run away for. But sometimes in some encounters, instance, Festergut, yeah. So he puts out spores that you have to run away if you're a melee, and there's all the spores that appeared in the melee, and you have to run out with one to the range. You're already closer, so you lose less time by getting to that spot where you need to be to stack with the range. Um, for a lot of things like that. That's not the only boss. There's several bosses where you actually have to run out as a melee to give a buff to range in some way or another. So the other thing, if you do have to run away to a safe distance and come back, it's actually a DPS gain for you to stay at maximum melee range because you have to spend less time running. If you're here, you're not doing any damage. Sorry. If you're here, you're doing some damage, not doing any damage, and then you have to travel further to come back to where you are doing damage. But if you're here, you're doing your damage, you run out, you're safe, ability explodes, and when you run back in, you can go back to doing damage, sort of saving you travel time. Okay, I have to add this little recording here. So I couldn't talk about the cross-eyed hunter here that's looking away from the boss without at least showing off what that looks like. So, as we all know, hunters are not playing World of Warcraft, they are playing World of Counter Strike. Most of them have gotten a marker and drawn a crosshair on the center of their screen, just like a gun crosshair, and they're always playing zoomed in all the way. Because that's how you play World of Counter Strike. So, anyway, I wanted to show off that complete tangent, which makes it look so funny. So, as you can see, he's facing that wall over there. There's nothing there. But that thing is technically just like maybe 2 degrees off my complete tangent. So I can do full damage to it, and it's at a complete right angle to me. It's so not intuitive to be doing this, but hey, I am technically staring at a wall, you know, doing damage to the boss. I just had to show that off. Okay, so the video was kind of short so far. Gives me a little bit of time to talk about uh, this mess of things right here. I was thinking about how to explain this, so I'm just gonna try to do a couple lines on each in priority, and hopefully that's enough by the end of it. Um, let's start off with how the game works out, what your action is going to result into, the attack table or combat table. Okay, so the combat table um, is basically a 100-sided weight loaded dice. It's sort of like cheating at, casino games. Um, each one of the actions on that list has a priority if it happens to have a bigger chance of occurring than the next thing after it. So if you have uh, 80% dodge and 80% parry, when somebody swings at you, you will technically only have 80% dodge and 20% parry. So, because parry is second on priority list. Yeah, that's the priority side of all this explained. Once the uh, top one fills up more of the possibilities, then the bottom ones drop off the list. Okay, so let's suppose you have got hit cap and expertise cap on your melee. Um, that means that miss will disappear off the list. So your 100-sided dice has three less possibilities that can appear on it. So now these other things take a bigger, chunk on the rolls. As a player hitting a mob or a boss rather, whatever, you cannot hit a crushing blow on a boss. So miss, dodge, parry, crushing blow, disappear. Block, if you're attacking from behind, the boss can't block. So actually, I don't think there's any blocking bosses in the current version or whatever. So technically, one, two, three, four, five disappear. If you're standing behind, and yeah, you're only ever gonna have glancing blows, crit, and normal hit, which is the second list over here. Block, you're not gonna receive block as a message, and you're not gonna receive crushing blow as a message, even though they're part of the possibilities on that dice. Your 100-sided dice now only has three sides, but each side is different in size or more chance of landing on, depending on how much of a percentage you have to land that, you know. So, glancing blow, uh, I'll explain that a little more in a sec. I have to take some Red Bull, wake up my brain just for this. Glancing blow is dependent on your weapon skill and the target's defense. So, you can't get rid of it. You're always gonna have glancing blow. The percentage of glancing blow attacks you have will be static against all bosses, exactly the same in Rattle Lich King. You can't get rid of it. It's always there. It's basically if you could increase your weapon skill by, um, I think you need another 20 weapon skill or something, roughly 20 or between 15 and 20 weapon skill extra than what you can have to get rid of glancing blow. And unless you can hack your way to have another 3 or 4 levels, you're not gonna get rid of it. So that's always gonna stay there, and it's roughly around like quarter or just under a quarter of all your attacks. So yeah, about 20% to depending. If you're orc, you have increased weapon skill or whatever. But that's one way you can reduce glancing blow. Okay, it's getting very late over here. Well, took a bit of thinking to figure all that out. I'm gonna come back tomorrow and continue this right here, and I will talk about hit caps, crit caps, and expertise cap. Um, there's a bit to digest here, and I'll explain. Yeah, I'll explain all of it, and I'll explain the priorities of you know having extra expertise on warriors, why it's a good thing. Um, why having low hit um, is okay in a Fury Warrior, etc. I'll explain why, not just what you should have, but why you should have it. Anyway, I'm falling asleep. I'll catch you tomorrow for another video. Peace.